Sauce Gardner to the New York Jets. The Jets fans were all over you, Sam. They were all over you when we ever considered a cornerback. But I love this pick for the Jets.
Look, according to the feedback for the mock drafts that I gave the Jets, they are never going to, they don't need cornerbacks. Pass rush is important in this defense. Cornerback, not at all. Robert Saleh doesn't care about coverage in his system. So this is therefore a terrible pick. I don't know what the Jets are doing. But seriously, folks. Dude, look, Sauce Gardner's good. Sauce Gardner's good.
He's really good.
And look, they may have had him number one on the board anyway, regardless of the fact that Derek Stingley went one pick ahead. With Derek Stingley gone, I think it is a no-brainer. Like, he is the perfect cornerback fit for this scheme as well. Like, whatever you think about how important coverage is in this type of system, Sauce Gardner fits it, right? And for every bit of logic that says, the 49ers under Saleh, they got really good when they got the pass rush. They also got really good when Richard Sherman recovered from his injury, his Achilles, and suddenly started playing like Richard Sherman again, right?
Yeah.
And they're obviously symbiotic. Like, one doesn't necessarily happen in a vacuum without the other one. But Richard Sherman playing at an elite high level transformed that defense. And Sauce Gardner, there's a lot of Richard Sherman to his game, right? And by that, in large part, I mean, we think about this guy as a press man corner because he's long, he's got the long range and gets up in guys' faces, and he does a lot of press coverage. But I honestly think he's a better player in zone coverage. He's got a really good feel for it. He understands where he's supposed to be. And like Richard Sherman, he makes a ton of those plays because he's got incredible length and he changes the angles you have to deliver the ball, because in zone, his just wingspan is so much bigger than average corners in those positions.
And that's what it's not just Saleh with the 49ers. It was Saleh when he was coming through Seattle. And they always had the mesh between the pass rush and from a coverage standpoint. I want to go to the model. My model's all over this, Sam. The model loves Sauce Gardner because you've got the combination of production and then the measurables that play at the next level. And when we've talked a lot about measurables this year, but man, the arm length of 33 and 3/4 inch arms, that is 99th percentile. That is the thing that's supposed to give you that press coverage upside. This is the way we just described Jalen Ramsey coming out, by the way. Remember, Ramsey played a lot of zone, and he had a great feel for zone, and he played safety, and he played slot corner at Florida State. But it was like, if you want to make him into a press man corner, it might take a little time, but he can get there. He's got all the tools. I feel like Sauce Gardner has that ability to play in any scheme.
And the same thing now that Jalen Ramsey gets talked about as this shutdown man cover corner, but honestly, he's still a better player in zone than he is in man
eyes
coverage.
on the quarterback, making plays on the ball, getting dirty in the run game when needed.
Right.
But and then Gardner goes and runs a 4.4, and he didn't look fast on film. He looks a little weird, but he's fast.
It's because he looks weird, right?
Right.
It's not because I've since come around on that. I initially watched his tape and I was like, he just doesn't look that fast, is he? I've since discovering he was fast, when you watch the tape again, you're like, yeah, see, here's the problem, is it just looks awkward. He's just got this weird way of moving and running. He looks a little bit like a cartoon tree, right? It's all trunk, these sort of branches out here, and it's like, but it works.
Tree branches.
It moves him along pretty quickly. And his coverage numbers pretty much speak for themselves, right? The famous stat is that he didn't allow a touchdown throughout his college career. But that is actually ignoring some other stats that are really good to look at. Entire college career, 43% of the passes into his coverage were caught. That's a pretty good number. But this is the best one. The passer rating that he gave up on targets into his coverage for his entire college career, 31.8. The passer rating, just throwing the ball at the floor every play, is 39.6. And that number's been getting better every year, right? It went from 39 to 29 to 22.6 this last year. Like, targeting Sauce Gardner has been ridiculous statistically. He didn't give up a catch longer than 17 yards last season.
Hey, look, I want to follow up with all your numbers too, because in the model that's in its infancy over here, Sam, I just want to say he's in the same ballpark as the elites that have come out in recent years. Marshawn Lattimore, Denzel Ward, Marlon Humphrey, Jair Alexander, Adoree Jackson, Jalen Ramsey, and William Jackson III. All guys who have gone on to have excellent NFL careers and have become, by PFF WAR, elite players. Sauce is in that bucket, right? So it's one measure. It's one way of kind of taking everything, rolling it up and saying measurables, production that translates all that stuff. It looks really good. Now, do you have to adjust for competition a little bit? Sure. But man, I think as far as ticking the boxes, Love Sauce Gardner. The Jets do have a need at corner. I like him opposite Bryce Hall as well. And I think you just have more options. You need 3 corners. You need 4 corners. The Jets went to free agency. They have Bryce Hall. They have Sauce Gardner. And that's good for team building.
And DJ Reed. So
bringing DJ Reed in.
All of a sudden, this is a secondary that could come together pretty quickly, right? That's a collection of DBs. Sometimes you look at it and you say, well, if the high end of all these players works out, there's something to be had here. The Jets, you start to look at it and you say, okay, you bring in Sauce Gardner. You've got DJ Reed, if he can back up what he did. He's got, I think, some position flexibility as well. We've seen him move around in the NFL. I think a large part of that is just being unsure about how to use him because he's got such an unusual body type. And by that, I mean he's tiny. And you have the young guys that they brought in, Michael Carter and Bryce Hall, who showed something year one, but you don't necessarily want to lean on them as guaranteed stars within this defense. So all of a sudden you put that collection together. You don't even need all of them to work out for this to be moving in the right direction.
Slowly but surely, though, the Jets, Joe Douglas a couple years ago, they needed to rework the offensive line, add some playmakers, and then the secondary was like the next huge need. I think they've done a great job, and Sauce Gardner helps put them over the top.
Yeah, I mean, quietly, this team is absolutely moving in the right direction across the board, and they're running out of positions that they really need to tick off.